History is not merely a record of the past. It is a mirror reflecting the choices that shape our present and future. For the Zaar people of Nigeria, the past is a chronicle of resilience, betrayal, and unyielding hope. This article revisits key historical milestones from the 1930s to the early 2000s, drawing lessons from each era to inspire a united and strategic path forward. It is a call to remember, resist, and rebuild. Tim Marshall, in The Prisoners of Geography, reminds us that geography often dictates political realities. The Zaar people, indigenous to the fertile and strategic lands of Tafawa Balewa and Bogoro LGAs of southern Bauchi State, have long been caught in a geopolitical struggle shaped by ethnic dominance, religious imposition, and administrative manipulation. Timeline of struggles and resistance. Figure 1. Timeline of resistance for justice and autonomy, from the feudal Bauchi Emirate to 1930s, 1948, early demands and colonial frustration. 1930s. District Officer Mr. Summer facilitated the first formal demand by the Zaar nation for recognition and autonomy. The effort was thwarted by vested interests. In 1948, Zaar protests the imposition of non-indigenous district heads from the Ajia family of Bauchi marked the beginning of organized resistance. 1960s, 1970s, political promises and spiritual revival. 1960s, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa and Sir Ahmadu Bello initiated reconciliation between Zaar and Bauchi Emirate, cut short by the 1966 coup. 1967, General Hassan Katsina promised resolution, but state creation under General Yakubu Gowon disrupted progress. 1970, Gowon directed the creation of a Zaar chiefdom. Instead, a pseudo-solution was offered, appointing Malam Aliyu Walumba Dadi, a Zaar Muslim, as district head. I-Force 1972, a spiritual revival swept Zaar land led by Reverend Ishaku Piko Hassan of blessed memory, symbolizing divine affirmation amidst oppression. 1976, Dadi was removed and replaced by another Zaar Muslim, Malam Haruna Yakubu, reinforcing religious bias in leadership appointments. 1990-1993, Crisis and Federal Recognition Ain, 1990 to 1991, Mr. Habila Bako Lumana's election as LGC chairman partly triggered ethnic violence, culminating in the 1991 crisis. 1991 to 1992, Justice Babalakin's commission recommended the creation of Zaar chiefdom. Bauchi State implemented all except the most crucial recommendation, that is the creation of the Zaar Sayawa chiefdom, separate from the present Bauchi Emirate. 1993, Governor Diba's Committee on Chiefdom Creation was ignored. 1998-2025, Federal endorsements and state sabotage on. 1998, General Abdul Salami Abubakar endorsed the Zaar Sayawa chiefdom creation. Bauchi State under Air Sidre Mashilia refused to act. 2001-2002. The Aputa panel, during the reign of General Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, reaffirmed the need for Zaar chiefdom, citing government complicity in protecting traditional ruling classes. 2003. Governor Muazu manipulated district head elections, imposing Alhaji Hussaini Haruna over the People's Choice, Mr. Mugana Yelmi, Evi. 2004. Muazu requested modalities for Zaar chiefdom creation, but refused to act on the Zaar nation's submission. He publicly opposed creating new chiefdoms to protect 6 historic emirates, urged successors to maintain the status quo, and claimed that, if you want the Sayawas to fight, as them to choose a traditional ruler among themselves, statements seen as unfounded and obstructive, revealing possible complicity against Zaar aspirations. 2007. In 2007, following Alhaji Sule Katagum's report, Governor Ahmed Adamu Muazu instructed the Sayawa nation to nominate a qualified indigene for appointment as Gung Zaar. In his public address, he acknowledged the process but failed to implement it. Vibra 2009. On the 6th of December 2009, Air Commodore Ishaku Komo, Red, was duly, peacefully and unanimously elected by the recognized Zaar Council of Elders and Traditional Rulers Forum, serving as kingmakers, as the first Gung Zaar of the Zaar chiefdom. 2010. Despite fulfilling all rights, Zaar Council of Elders and Traditional Rulers submitted Air Sidre Ishaku Komo's name for Gung Zaar. Bauchi rejected him for faith. Governor Issa Yuguda opposed Komo's appointment, launching media attacks and using police intimidation against the Zaar nation. Komo was declared wanted, and armed mobile police occupied the Gung Zaar Palace, escalating tensions and violating community dignity. Como sued Bauchi State at Federal High Court Kaduna, won the case, affirming his rights and exposing state abuse of power. 2023 to 2024, persecution of Zaar Nation continued under Governor Bala Abdulkadir, Sakin Yakin Daular Usmaniya, showing a pattern of state hostility beyond Isa Yuguda's tenure. Heir Sadre Ishaku Como was unjustly incarcerated twice, the 3rd of May, the 1st of June 2023 and the 18th of December 2023, the 8th of February 2024. A hollow victory, i.e. 2007, Governor Muazu deceptively asked the Sayowa nation to choose a qualified indigene for Gung Zaar, anticipating internal discord and believing they would be incapable of reaching consensus on a traditional ruler. Over time, Governor Muazu's conducts toward the Zaar people amounted to a pattern of deliberate and repeated political deception and unfulfilled commitments. 2011. In August 2011, Bauchi State, during the tenure of Governor Isa Yuguda, enacted a law creating Sayowa chiefdom, published in Gazette No. 5, Volume 36. Zaar Nation rejected the law's headquarters location at Mati, Valngi, insisting on ancestral Pusji, Tafawa Balewa, instead. The law excluded 66 Zaar hamlets, including Pusji, undermining the integrity and territorial identity of the proposed chiefdom. 2019 to present, despite numerous committees set up by Governor Bala Abdulkadir to address the Zaar chiefdom demands, no meaningful progress was achieved, except for the formal pronouncement of Tafawa Balewa as headquarters. Critical questions for reflection and justice. 1. Are you aware that the communities displaced in Zaar ancestral lands are now inhabited by one ethnic group, the Fulani? 2. Have you ever questioned why neighboring tribes like the Zaar have not claimed or settled in these displaced Zaar territories? 3. Why is it that only the Fulani, who are not indigenous to these lands, have taken possession of these historically Zaar settlements? 4. Could it be accurate to conclude that the repeated invasions and conflicts in Zaar land over the years have been orchestrated by Fulani interests? 5. Why do the Fulani, despite living as guests among indigenous communities, refuse to recognize or live under local traditional institutions? 6. Are they implying that no tribe is worthy to govern them, yet all other tribes must submit to their authority? 7. Why does the Bauchi state government consistently align with Fulani interests, acting as their mouthpiece against indigenous communities? 8. Is there an unspoken alliance between Bauchi state and Fulani elites that relegates indigenous people to second-class status? 9. Why has Bauchi state persistently refused to implement the Zaar chiefdom despite clear directives from the federal government and multiple committee recommendations? 10. Could the endless cycle of committees and consultations be a deliberate strategy to delay justice and deny rightful recognition? 11. Does Bauchi state genuinely believe that the Zaar people still trust its leadership, or has that trust long been broken? Committees without commitment. The politics of delay in Zaar chiefdom recognition. Remember that successive governments in Bauchi state established committee after committee. These committees, often labeled as peace, fact-finding, or reconciliation initiatives, have proven to be political distractions rather than genuine efforts. No one should presume to lecture the Zaar people about peace. Historical evidence consistently affirms our peaceful nature. We have never initiated conflict, rather violence was imposed upon us, and our responses have always been acts of lawful self-defense under existential threat. For the Zaar nation, such mechanisms have become synonymous with delay tactics and deception, serving the interests of the state rather than justice. The community now recognizes these as tools of manipulation, not resolution, and refuses to be misled any further. Reflection. Tim Marshall's analysis of territorial control and ethnic suppression in The Prisoners of Geography offers sobering parallels. Just as Russia asserts dominance over Crimea and China over Tibet, geopolitical parallels and lessons. 1. The Bauchi Emirates' refusal to relinquish control over Zaar land reflects a strategic desire to maintain influence over resource-rich and symbolically significant territories. 2. The Fulani expansionist agenda, as perceived by the Zaar people, mirrors global patterns of ethno-political dominance. The Fulani agenda is aiming to establish a Fulani caliphate, that is, Usmaniya Caliphate, also known as Dawla Usmaniya. The term Usmaniya has its root from the name Utman dan Fodio. A close examination of the underlying narrative suggests alignment with this objective. The Fulani refusal to live under indigenous institutions, insistence on separate leadership, and systematic displacement of Zaar communities, Arewa, Gumo, Pekman, Jaja, Yamgan, Yelwasayawa, Bomgurbuli, Malamchi Gongo, and Malamchi Zwal, are not isolated incidents but part of a broader geopolitical strategy. 3. Let there be no doubt. We shall reclaim every inch of our land, for it is ours by right, and not subject to negotiation or exchange under any circumstance. 4. Also, the Zaar people must learn from present-day Israel. Israel, surrounded by hostile neighbors and facing persistent threats from extremist groups such as Hamas and Hezbollah, has demonstrated how a nation can survive and thrive through strategic defense, intelligence superiority, and unwavering national identity. Israel exemplifies how a people can protect their land, assert their rights, and maintain sovereignty despite overwhelming odds. Call to Action 1. The Zaar nation must rise above historical betrayals and forge a united front. The struggle is not merely administrative, it is existential. The refusal to implement Zaar chiefdom is a denial of identity, dignity, and destiny. 2. Let this document serve as a reference for scholars, policymakers, and activists. Let it inspire the Zaar youth to study history, understand geopolitics, and engage in strategic advocacy. Let it challenge the Nigerian government to honor its own recommendations and uphold justice. 3. The time has come for the Zaar people to establish a permanent, non-partisan advocacy body, comprising elders, youth, legal experts, and diaspora voices, to coordinate efforts, engage with national and international institutions, and ensure that the Zaar chiefdom demand remains a priority on every political agenda. 4. International human rights organizations, academic institutions, and media outlets must be engaged to document and amplify the injustices faced by the Zaar nation. Silence is complicity. Global awareness is a step toward accountability. Conclusion. The Zaar people are not asking for privilege. They are demanding justice. The historical record is clear, the federal directives are unambiguous, and the community's resilience is unwavering. As George Santayana warned, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. As Benjamin Netanyahu once said, even if Israel has to stand alone, Israel will stand. Likewise, the Zaar nation must stand firm, even if abandoned by the state. Nelson Mandela reminds us, as long as poverty, injustice, and gross inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest. The time to act is now. History has spoken, the people have endured, and justice must prevail. Let yesterday's lessons fix today's injustices and build tomorrow's legacy. The world must know, the Zaar nation will not be erased, silenced, or sidelined. Their story is one of survival, and it must end in sovereignty. Manyar Chongfiali Management for ZHLCP Pusji.